What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Busy Sticks, the Geekiverse's all video game talk show. I'm Josiah Leroy. We're coming off a hyped week in video games here with me, my main man, Baba Yaga, John Fick. John, there's so much to talk about.
It is the season, man. This is what I live for when it comes to games. I mean, like you're hyped up all fall to play the big releases, and then the Game Awards. How much more fun can you get than the Game Awards? We had an awesome live stream. If you missed it, we were live on Facebook.com/the Geekiverse. We did a full watch along of the Game Awards. First time we did that, but it won't be the last time because we had a lot of fun. So that was really cool. But what a good show. We'll talk about it today.
Yeah, just an incredible time. Tim Talbot joined us as well. We had a lot of fun in the chat, and we had a lot of fun when it came to all these special announcements that we got. So more on that later in the show. But let's get things rolling right away here, John. It's your week for well, hang on. I forgot.
You almost jumped the gun. You almost jumped the gun.
Second time. Almost did it again. We're not just talking about video games on the show. We have a passion for something else that happens to go very, very well hand in hand with video games, and that is beer. So, John, what do you got here on the show for Busy Sticks today? What do you got in the glass?
At this point, it's a meme, and I did it for the meme, but it's a great beer, and I've had it before. I haven't had it on the show yet, but if you've been watching, for some reason, every show, the local brewery, Big Ditch, has made an appearance. Either myself or Josiah has had a Big Ditch beer. So I went to the beer store today, and I'm looking around, and I see this Big Ditch. So they've got this line that's a beer that tastes like beer. And this is the West Coast IPA. And the idea of this line of beer that they do is it's a no frills. They're not like adding any adjunct crazy different flavors. They are making that style of beer to the book. So they're using their expertise, and they are making the most authentic West Coast IPA they can, or the most authentic Goza, or whatever they do. They've got a bunch of different ones. Their Martin was really good for Oktoberfest. And lately I've just been craving bitter IPAs. New England style hazy stuff, they're great. I've just been a little bit inundated with that kind of beer at this point. You walk into a brewery, that's all you're gonna find. They're gonna have like 5 IPAs, and at least 4 are gonna be New England style. So I don't know. I've just been craving the bitter stuff, and that's exactly what West Coast IPAs will give you. I've had this before, but it's incredible. So I picked it up again. And Big Ditch, week 4, with an appearance here on Busy Sticks.
Dude, the onus is on me next week to keep the streak going.
We don't have.
I love it.
We don't have to do that. There's so much good beer in Buffalo. You know, the thing is, I like Big Ditch fine. They're not my favorite brewery in Buffalo. There's a lot of really good stuff around here. Big Ditch is great, but this has just been a funny coincidence at this point.
Yeah, I love it. I love the Martin that you mentioned as well.
Really good.
That was my go-to this October. My dad enjoyed that a lot. For me, John, this is one you probably have not heard of, but we've got one, a New England IPA, excuse me, an Imperial IPA from Other Half.
Ooh.
So right there. Is
that a Chroma?
I'm just kidding. Of course you've heard of it. Yes, it is. How do you say delicious? So I'm a big fan of it. I actually have. It's funny, John mentions the hazy IPA thing. I have been, I'm like just a step behind right now. That's where I'm at. I want a hazy, juicy IPA in general for what we're talking about. And then in terms of what I have here on the desk today with Other Half, dude, just about everything Other Half touches is gold. So
Yeah.
Big fan of what they've been doing. And you and I go to a local place called Murphy Brown's in Clarence, in suburb of Western New York, and they've always got at least a few of those on tap. So can't go wrong there. Oh, what glass we got?
So I got myself a Pokemon one. I'm going to try to bring a gaming glass every week. So I've got Pikachu sitting in a nice little barrel there, a barrel-aged Pikachu, if you will, and a bunch of different little icons from the game there. Some Pokeballs, some medicines, potions, stuff like that. So cool stuff.
From our favorite glass supplier, Glass to Mouth, and we got the Baby Yoda going on there.
Yeah.
Grogu.
You've got barrel-aged Grogu, and I got barrel-aged Pikachu. That's great.
Love it.
That's really cool.
Well, John, cheers as always, my friend.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Well, it's your week for show and tell.
Oh, yeah.
So what's on the palette?
So I promised last time I did show and tell that I wasn't just going to come bring the shiniest new thing that I just bought and that I'm excited about. I would get some stuff that's maybe relevant to the news, or maybe has a story and is historic or sentimental for some reason. And this week I did exactly that. So what I have this week, I'll tell a story after, is my day one copy of Halo 3. So this is my Halo 3 copy. This is the special edition. This is the one where this stupid thing keeps sliding down because they didn't glue it very well. There was like forums about that every all over the place when it first came out. But not only did I bring this because Halo Infinite just came out, but last Wednesday I had to make a trip to Best Buy. I had to do an online pickup for a Christmas present, and I was hanging out there. I was in the line there, and there was this gentleman in front of me, and he was probably in his 70s, something like that. He was an older man, had gray hair. Probably wasn't, what you'd expect the guy looking for the newest video game. But he gets up there, and he gets handed a brand new copy of Halo Infinite. Again, this is last Wednesday. This is launch day of Halo Infinite. So he gets handed a copy of Halo Infinite, and he just walks right out. And all I can think of was my dad leaving work early to get me this copy of Halo 3. He left work on his lunch break, took an extra long lunch so he can drive home and have it on my desk ready for me on Halo 3 launch day, and then he let me take the next day off of school. So that's all I can think about when I'm standing there at Best Buy and I see this man with white hair just like my dad has picking up a copy of Halo Infinite, and I'm like, man, we're talking, 2007? So we're talking, 14 years later, almost 15 years later, Halo still has the same effect. We've still got fathers and mothers going out to pick up the game for their kids. So that's my show and tell.
Dude, it's so special. I love that. Oh man, what a dad! To take the time to do that, knowing how special it was to you, and then oh my gosh, skipping school. That was the thing when any Halo came out, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. And my dad too. Special shout out. I can't even tell you how many hours together we put into Halo 3 multiplayer together, sitting on the couch together. That would have been college time for me. I'd get home from school and we would play long into the night, just over and over and over, and it never got old, man.
That's
never
awesome.
got old.
It's very different.
Like that's where we're
right. So with my dad, so he couldn't be less interested in video games, and even as like a hobby of mine, not something he's generally showed interest in, but for some reason it's always been Halo. He's always realized how big of a deal Halo was to me, and even at my brother back in the day when he was into video games. I can remember almost the same story as Halo 2. Halo 2 comes out. I think it was also a Wednesday night. We had religion class after school on Wednesday at IOP back in our hood. So we had religion class, and we thought we were going to have to wait till the next day to get our copies of Halo because it was, we just got home from religion. It's late at night, and we both had 2 copies of Halo 2 sitting right there ready for us to go. So for some reason, my dad's always just had like a soft spot for Halo because he just realizes how much it means to me.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a great story. In terms of how I think Halo is nostalgic for a lot of people, I felt, and we're going to talk about it because we're going to have a special episode of Busy Sticks if John ever finishes Halo Infinite.
Oh, come on. I'm
forever
finally
now.
on this side of the stick. And
I know.
It's always
so
you.
Good.
It's always you.
Let me have this.
You got it. It's all you.
No, I'm only kidding. We'll talk about it. But there's a nostalgia with Halo that, with Infinite specifically, there are elements of how I felt about The Force Awakens with Star Wars and how it dove back in and it took a lot of what I loved and had a lot of freshness in terms of quality, and it just brought it all together. And at the end of the Infinite campaign, I was clapping. I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do right now. It was just awesome. So more on Halo later. Also in the coming days or weeks, we're going to talk about it in a special one-off episode. I don't want to step on your toes with show and tell, but this is as fresh and shiny as it's going to get for me. I've got it, baby. I get right there.
It's got the Switch OLED. Look at that.
Switch OLED. I have not played it yet, but I've downloaded. I started my download. I had Metroid Dread going, and then the Zelda remake that we got over the summer. So can't wait to actually sit down and play it. I don't have to threaten that. Anytime John's over, he doesn't have to worry about keeping it in his sight or leaving it accidentally, anything like that. I've got my own Switch OLED. In part, again, thanks to John, by the way, who sent me the text that one was available.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I had that ordered within about 10 seconds.
That was impressive. That was very impressive. And if you would have waited another 10 seconds, I would have just bought it for you, and we would have figured it out. So I'm glad he got back to me quickly.
I couldn't believe how the timing of that worked out.
That's good.
But yeah, it was awesome, man. So moving on to our next segment. Again, whether you're listening in podcast form on podcast services around the globe or watching at youtube.com/the Geekiverse, we really appreciate you tuning in. What's in your system, John? As if there's a question, but I still want to ask, what's in your system? What are you playing?
Yeah, so we're gonna keep talking about Halo. I know you finished it, but I haven't had this weekend. I was very busy. I had no time to play this weekend. But after work today, I was able to get in a good amount of time. I would say I am probably 6 to 7 hours into it, but maybe those first 3 to 4 hours, I was doing everything. Like those first 3 to 4 hours, I probably spent more time just like clearing out FOBs and just helping out random UNNC like troops. I was just enamored with the open world, and that's all I wanted to do was just like walk around and just keep grapple hooking things and just see what I could do. So those first 3 4 hours, I was really just digging into the open world, and now I'm like, okay, that stuff's all going to be there for me when I beat this game, I'm sure. So I'm kind of just main pathing it now, and if I'm passing an FOB on the way to the next main mission, I'll do it. But I'm trying to get through this story so we can have a good conversation about that. Maybe we'll even do a spoiler cast on this one. Might warrant that.
I think so. There's a lot to get to, which we'll save for that. But John, I was kind of in a similar boat when I started. I was just was doing everything in sight from a side mission standpoint or activity standpoint, and then there was a certain point where I was like, I gotta go. I just gotta play this thing. Like I can't wait any longer. And the other stuff I'll get to. And I plan to go back and. I mean, you can't really 100% this, so to say, but I want to just clean up the map, get everything that I possibly can.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I mean, I've got really nothing even to say that would be spoilerly because I really haven't hit the heart of the story yet. But I'm really loving the relationship with Chief and the weapon and the Marine on the ship. Like everything just feels so good. I mean, it's like, man, coming from Halo 5 where I just couldn't care less about that story and it was just such a slog to get through, this really feels special. The writing, it just feels like the original Halo trilogy. Like I'm Chief and like I care about what's going on. And the way that they've been able to incorporate open world is just so good. I mean, like you would almost never realize that the Halo franchise wasn't always open world. It just feels so real, feels so good. You just walk in. I mean, everywhere you go, there's just something to do, but you can skip it and just go to the main mission if you want to. It's just designed really well.
Dude, they nailed it. They nailed the dynamic of the open world. And I was worried about that. And I was like, to a degree, I don't want to change Halo up, but it is what it is. And we got there and it made it all the better. And it's not this huge, expansive world that feels like you're never going to get to all of it. It's like the perfect size from what I've seen so far. And the story is just beautiful and wonderful. And it really scratches that itch for longtime Halo fans who I think pine for maybe a little bit more, something close to that original trilogy. I think it's safe to say we got that while this all felt fresh. And you're right, man. The weapon, I love that character. Like she's amazing. What a wonderful performance that is. Their dynamic is just beautiful. It's kind of like a father-daughter relationship there. What else? Anything else going on in the system these days?
Yeah, the only other thing is Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. I haven't touched it in a few days. I just got to the Legendary. I know you're not a big Pokemon guy, but I just got to the point where I'm at Dialga, and it's just like this, you walk up to it and you press A and you start your encounter. And I'm trying to shiny hunt it, and the only way to do that is to literally close the game out and relaunch it. And I think the odds of getting a shiny without having the shiny charm for completing the game are like 1 in over 8,000. So I'm just like, all right, I'll spend a few days just clicking and closing and see if I can get the shiny. It's not going to happen, but I've probably spent a few days just sitting on the couch watching TV, just doing that. So I haven't progressed that game in a while. I've just been trying to reset shiny hunt the Dialga. I'll give up soon because I know it's not going to happen. It's like I said, it's like a 1 in over 8,000 chance that I pop the shiny on this bad boy, but I'm messing around with it. But I want to complete that because I'm having a lot of fun with it.
That's the point of all of it, right? So we talked a lot about Halo for me. That's obviously been a constant. Not only did I finish Halo's campaign yesterday, I had a legendary day. No pun intended there. I finished Deathloop. So we talk about the shoe on the other foot, right? John finished this ages ago when it came out. And I made a lot of mistakes in terms of my gaming time and schedule. I loved all the games I played. It's just unfortunately fell down the priority list pretty quickly when Guardians of the Galaxy came out. So finally made myself sit down, get back to it, hit those final few runs. And man, oh my gosh, that final run is exhilarating. What a special game.
So well designed. It's so different. There's nothing like it, man. There's nothing like it. So cool.
And it's not your run-of-the-mill time loop game where you got to really figure out and be on the ball.
It's not your run-of-the-loop time loop game. I've said loop a lot there for a game called Deathloop. And it's not your run-of-the-mill Bethesda game or your run-of-the-mill Arcane game. If you have any kind of preconceived notions about any of those three things, throw them out the window. This game is awesome, dude. This game's for everybody who likes action games, first-person shooters, any of that. Like, this game's for everybody. I don't really like time loop games. I don't really like Bethesda games, and I don't really like Arcane games. Like, I couldn't get into the Dishonored stuff. We talked about that a little bit. Deathloop is really, really different and really cool. I recommend it. Everyone checks it out, especially if you can find it at a good holiday price.
People are going to think I'm crazy for saying this, so I'm going to say it and then I'll explain. I think it's Bethesda's best game ever. I think it's as close to perfect as it can be. It is truly remarkable. And if you want a fresh experience, there's nothing like it out there. Like we said, you could say, hey, there's Fallout, there's Elder Scrolls. Some people would say the Wolfenstein games. Dude, this is it for me. Like, it's so well done. And that's maybe something we even need to, I know we're past, gosh, this game came out in September, but I have a lot to say about it. So maybe we'll set aside time to talk about that on another episode too. But can't recommend it enough. It's on sale right now in numerous retailers. Go get it.
Yeah, it was as cheap as $30, I think, during like the Black Friday, Cyber Monday rush. So if you can find that pop back up again, I mean, jump on that. That game is so worth it.
Yeah, 100%. That's a game I might want to go back and platinum. We'll see.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I'm like, all right, when I find a lull here, what's the game I want to kind of dive back into? That's the one that keeps popping up in my brain there.
Yeah, I feel like that's where I'm going to get to. Nothing else in the system at the moment. It kind of feels freeing. I'm going to bide my time until Life is Strange just in a few weeks here.
Oh, nice.
And then we've got, at least I have, It Takes Two downloaded and ready to go. So
I do
John
as well.
All right. John and I are going to dive into that one very shortly too. John, we did have some really good news today before we get into the Game Awards. If you are a fan of buying any sort of merchandise just in general when it comes to PlayStation, we've got a lot on the horizon here, just a few weeks away come January. We are finally getting the color panels that you can customize your PlayStation 5 with, as well as a handful of new controllers that match those colors in addition to what's already on the market. We've got a nice blue, we've got a pink, and then for me, the one I've been waiting for, the one I almost wanted to go and customize myself, a purple controller. Purple and orange. As you can see, if you're watching the video, over my my shoulder there, I've got the orange and purple Switch Joy-Cons. That's it for me. I cannot wait to get my hands on that. I ordered one today from PlayStation Direct.
Awesome.
So,
are you going to get the shells as well? Are you going to, take the plunge and make your PlayStation match the controller?
I'm going to wait for now. You brought up a really good point today in our group chat that you wanted to see what your entertainment system will kind of look like when that time comes with the colors and what the existing white looks like. I love how mine looks. I'm going to keep it for now, maybe change it up in the future. I got to say, I really like how the black looks.
Oh, it's clean.
There's something about it.
It's clean.
Yeah, very clean.
Yeah, it looks really good with the white.
Anything jumping out off the page at you in terms of the colors? You plan on getting the panel down the road, a controller?
I'm so torn because I did already buy a second DualSense. I have the black one, the midnight black one, and I love it. But that blue is just perfect for me. Just much like you in that purple, that is like my ideal blue. Like, I mean, here's my trusty PlayStation Vita. It's close to that, but it's a little bit lighter than this. I just think it's so clean. I would take that DualSense and those panels in a heartbeat. I just don't know if it's worth me dropping that kind of money for it. I will say this is something that, even though the panels made a lot of sense, I never saw PlayStation doing this, or I didn't think they would do it for a long time. I mean, we're at year one here, and they're already offering those. I don't know, just knowing the company that PlayStation has been, and they've been very like Apple about things, like, all right, this is our experience, you're going to have our experience, and like, that's what it is. It's a walled garden, if you will. I didn't expect them to even come out with different DualSense colors or have those panels, so I'm so glad they did.
I'm with you on the DualSense. Like, this is really early in a generation to get all those colors.
For them,
like.
yeah.
Even for what we had with the black and the
crimson red,
whatever. Yes, that was surprising to me, but I like it. I love it. Why
cool.
Why not? And the PS5s are in short supply these days. At least you can throw some accessories out there, right? Might as well rack it up while you can.
Right. I think the price is good too. $55 for those panels. Like I didn't even joke to you. I said to you, like they're probably gonna be $100. Like that seems like a PlayStation price tag to put on 2 pieces of plastic there. But even like dbrand, a very popular like customization skin website, they sell those panels too, and theirs are $60. So PlayStation even undercut them. I guess that makes sense because they kind of have to acquire the white ones and customize them, I think. But whatever, not a bad price.
Yeah, definitely reasonable, I would say. In terms of the Game Awards, we're going to go through some of our favorite moments for the show. There was so much to like throughout the 3 hours. Keely did a wonderful job. Again, we had some wonderful special guests. Of course, it feels like the awards now take a back seat to the show with all the announcements we've been getting in the past few years. But you, me, and Tim had a genuinely great time, I think, watching this together, having the live stream on Facebook. If you watched at facebook.com/thegeekiverse, we really appreciate that. But we're not going to go through everything here. We're not going to recap the whole show. We're going to kind of pick and choose some bullet points to go through and give our analysis on them. And I think that's about it. But I want to start with, we had a few predictions before the show. I'm a little bit surprised that we didn't get John's. So John, you mentioned the long talked about and rumored Bioshock, whatever that looks like. Felt like this was the time, right? It was 2017, I want to say, that kind of started picking up some steam.
Right.
Felt like we were going to finally get that. We didn't.
Yeah.
So
there was a leak that came out the last couple of weeks that leaked the title, and again, I keep forgetting that title, but they did say a Q1 2022 or a spring 2022 reveal. So that leak is true. I guess we really had no reason to expect it, just because that leak is pretty detailed. So we're thinking it holds some weight. So it was kind of wishful thinking, but I would have liked to see it. I want more Bioshock.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm ready. We're overdue for one. One of my predictions did not come true. The pipe dream, selfish wish of mine to get Arkham on a Nintendo Switch. It's only a matter of time, folks. It's going to happen. We did get some Rocksteady in the form of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. We got a new trailer there. Really excited for that game. One of my predictions was based off of a report that came out maybe about a few weeks ago regarding Star Wars. But we're going to kick it off right there, because why the hell not? And I know John's got a lot to say about this based on some other wonderful forms of media. So I predicted pre-show that we would get either the Quantic Dream Star Wars reveal that was rumored, or we would get something we just have not heard of, something Star Wars was going to come out of left field. Feels like we're just ramping up right now with all the Star Wars license that is out there. So happy to say, shockingly, they kicked off the show with Star Wars Eclipse.
I thought you were crazy for that prediction. I thought you were crazy for the Quantic Dream prediction. With the second prediction that, okay, maybe something Star Wars we haven't heard of before, fine, that's easy. But the Quantic Dream, I'm like, that rumor just came out. I have a hard time even believing that studio's making a non-story based walking simulator Star Wars game of all things. I don't know. I can't believe you got that right.
And on an established IP, which is really a first for them. So, yeah, what a moment. If you can go back and watch that, just the sheer joy and emotion that came from the three of us, especially, the little bit extra sweet that the prediction came right, because usually I'm way off in left field. So this was wonderful for me. But man, Star Wars Eclipse, John, we're getting a game in the High Republic era, the first entry in any sort of media that's not books or comics right now. We got to wait some time before we get some movie announcements, we assume. But, man, take me through your emotion and excitement for seeing this, because you're one of the people that I most know that champions the High Republic era and one of its biggest advocates.
Right.
As I'm slacking big time. You're excited. You get all the comics. You get the books. You're seeing some characters. You're pointing out names you think that they might be. Whereas this is brand new to so to the vast majority of Star Wars fans. Talk me through your emotion and excitement in seeing this.
Yeah, I would say most people are just pumped to see a Star Wars game, and then double excited if you're familiar with the studio, or maybe upset depending on your point of view, to see that Quantic Dream is making the game. So it's just like a very unique surprise for all. But for me, the biggest thing is that it's the High Republic game. So if you look over my right shoulder here, all those books are Star Wars books, and most of them are High Republic. So it's been a new initiative for the team over at Star Wars, and it started off as just books, and they did say it's going to be a new multimedia event to tell this generation of Star Wars. So we knew more was coming. We didn't know if it was going to be games or Disney Plus or film or whatever, but I'm just such a fan. So the first 2 main novels are already out. The third one's coming soon, I think in January or February. And there's a bunch of like young adult novels as well as the comics. And I'm like up to date on all of it. And I don't think it'd be crazy for me to say that it is already my favorite era of Star Wars. Like it's really well done. The characters are super cool, and just to see, it's like the promise of the politics the interest of the politics that we could have gotten from the prequels, which in my opinion were a little boring. All that stuff's awesome with a fully thriving Jedi council. And just the being protectors of the galaxy and, expanding out to the Outer Rim. The High Republic rules. So the fact that we're getting a game, it's just too good to be true. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Dude, I'm so excited. I've talked about this on the show. I mean, my gosh, everyone knows that you could put Star Wars on anything and I would be like, I need that. I want to go see it. I want to go play it. But I've talked about getting excited for things that John gets excited for, because that passion is contagious. So for him to really be this excited about something in the High Republic, that's all I need to know. I'm good to go. Like I'm going to go finish that book eventually.
Yes, you have to. We have to talk about that. But you have 2 books to finish, because the main story is really, really good. Like so we're in like phase 1 of the High Republic, but the first phase was split into 3 like mini phases, right? So we've got 3 big novels, and it really does feel like the story is like grand enough to, beat wise, to compare to like a trilogy of the Star Wars films. It is that impactful and that good. What I'll say that I hope for is, I hope that not that it's necessarily a retelling of these books, but I hope that the main characters from these books are incorporated. I'm not saying that we need people to read these books before they play the game. Obviously, that's not the point. We want to introduce people to this era in multiple different ways. I just love these characters so much, so I really hope that they use what they've already established here.
I echo that sentiment. And if you look at the trailer, which, by the way, what a reveal, because you didn't know it was Star Wars right away, right? There was some time, at least I would say half a minute into it, before we were getting any sort of, oh my gosh, this is happening.
For sure.
And of course, you see the lightsaber at some point.
Now, when you rewatch that trailer, the music is more obvious, but we were talking to each other and stuff like that. So like the music would have given it away for us, I think, a few seconds earlier if we had been watching kind of like, in a different environment. But still, they got that guy drumming away. We have no idea. Is this Mass Effect? What is this? What's going on here? It's Avatar.
Yeah. Drax the Destroyer, the video game. Like,
right.
Who knows what's going on there?
Guys looking like Voldemort a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much going on. Look at all the different aspects of that trailer, right? Like, it echoes the High Republic book from what I've read so far. There's so many different grounds to touch upon, so many different story arcs within the overall arc. Like, oh my gosh. And honestly, so like you said, there's some people out there who are going to roll their eyes or not be totally happy that Quantic Dream is doing this. I am a fan of the IPs that Quantic Dream has put out there and done so far, whether that's a Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls, Detroit Become Human. I mean, my goodness, I went all the way back with, what is the game? It was a 2000, Indigo Prophecy 2005. They re-released it for PS4, limited run games. So I've played a lot of their catalog. I like the slower pacing, the more thoughtful story, and I'm excited to see that in a Star Wars game. However, they're touting it as an adventure game. So there's going to be more action. There's going to be that Quantic Dream narrative, and of course, like you see in a game like Heavy Rain, there's numerous characters that you're gonna. It sounds like be a part of, or at least take the reins of. So all of that mixed in just makes this. I mean, I couldn't be more excited for this to get here. Whenever that is.
I'm a little worried with it being Quantic Dream. I do hope that there's a combat system, and I hope that they do it well. I mean, it's a Star Wars game. You want to be able to have fun lightsaber battles, and you want to use Force powers. and maybe you want to fly a ship or two. So hopefully it's not just kind of like the on rails experience that we're used to from a Quantic Dream game, just kind of like your quick time events. Again, we've got a little indication that it's not that, but how well can this studio pull that off, because they haven't really done it before. So a bit skeptical, but I mean, like, overall excited. Even if the game is not too fun to play, at least it's going to be a good story.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more there. I think that's the big thing. As I'm thinking about it, there's, to my knowledge, unless I'm missing something, that's 5 Star Wars games in development. We've got Eclipse from Quantic Dream, which we don't have an ETA on. It's going to be a while, I think. We've got the Ubisoft title. We have the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order from Respawn. We have the KOTOR remake, which, oh my gosh, just goosebumps even thinking about it. And then we've got Lego Star Wars, if that ever comes out, which seems like it's the most finished of the games.
Isn't there a Switch exclusive like bounty hunter game that's also in development? Am I making that up?
There is. I didn't include that. It's Switch and mobile,
right?
Called Hunters.
Got it. Okay, so I didn't know it was mobile too. Now I understand why I didn't include that.
Yeah, so you could argue that there's 6 there. That's going to come out soon. I don't know when that is, but they just revealed the characters that you can play. It's kind of like an arena shooter from what I understand, and they're not based on existing characters. Like, there's a little bit of a goofiness to it. Like, you can play as a Jawa, but it's really 2 Jawas standing on one another because they're too short.
Got it.
So you run around shooting people like that.
Okay.
It's free to play. I'm going to play it on my Switch as soon as it comes out so I can check it out. But anyway, that's incredible. 5 like really big budget Star Wars games on the way. This reminds me very much of the early 2000s when you couldn't keep up. There was a new Star Wars game every 10 minutes, it felt like.
Right.
And you got some good studios involved.
That's the big thing. We talked a little bit about it during our live stream of the Game Awards. Like, that's what's fun about this. It's no longer just your EA deal. I mean, that, like, obviously they put out what they put out and they canceled what they canceled, and it didn't work. I think you got some fun stuff out of it, but I think most people will agree that deal didn't work out for either party, right? It's just cool to see the fruits of that. That ambition, that new initiative for them to just say, okay, we're taking this franchise. Star Wars isn't going anywhere. We can't just let it sit here and die. We have to do something with it. So they're giving it to these well-established studios, and they're, letting them do some different stuff with the games. Like Fallen Order, very, very different take on a Star Wars game. Very, very methodical combat, and a story that was something I didn't expect to see in a Star Wars game anytime soon. So I'm excited.
It is a failure on really both parties, EA and Lucasfilm, to not capitalize on the intense excitement surrounding The Force Awakens. And then even a few years later, tell me, or argue what you will about what you thought about the movie, but The Last Jedi, they had that level of excitement as well.
Right.
To not be able to get some games, I mean, they got 2 games out, both Battlefront games. So it is what it is. But to not be able to have anything like this was a missed opportunity. Now, in the new branding and kind of the loophole, if you will, of Lucasfilm games, we're going to hopefully get some really, really good stuff here. And like we said, some really, really big studios known for their quality work.
Right.
The future is very bright there.
So, yeah, there was some fun stuff at the Game Awards, but I think it's going to be a tough argument to make that wasn't the biggest announcement of the night. That was crazy, man.
And they kicked it off. They kicked off
and
the night with that.
And that was almost a misstep because we're like, okay, if they kicked it off with this, what's the one more thing? What are they finishing with? Like, it almost would have been better for them to maybe save that for the end. But there was still a lot of other good stuff which we're going to get to.
I love that they did that because it was different, if nothing else.
Right.
Because typically that's your lead off, or your leave off, I should say. To do that, and there was some interesting announcements after that really had us hyped still, which is saying a lot. And if anything, it was really good strategy too, because it got us excited. And we're sticking around going, oh my gosh, what's next?
And I guess that's kind of easy to say because, that's what you always expect, the biggest thing at the end. But for the Game Awards, a show that is 2 hours long and has a pinnacle, it has a climax. Game of the Year is supposed to be kind of the point of the end of the show. So those 2 things considered, I guess it does make sense to kind of lead off with your biggest announcement if it's not a winner.
Yeah,
Jeff knows what he's doing.
Yeah, kudos. Also, real quick, if I could, before we get into the other stuff, we all agreed it was a nice way to kick off the show with Jeff saying, hey, we're not going to tolerate any of the crap that's going on out there. We're going to be inclusive. We're going to do our best to all be on the same page and make sure gaming is kind of a good if not safe environment for everybody. And I liked it because he didn't drag any politics into it. He didn't have any agenda. All he was just saying what he said. And
Right.
it was that we want gamers to have a place to game, and that's it. We're not going to tolerate the crap. Just thought it was really good.
I agree, but I also disagree a little bit. I wish he would have doubled down a little bit more on Activision Blizzard, and I wish he would have named them and kind of just condemned what was going on right now. And I've heard people say, like, oh, okay, if you're going to talk about that, you got to talk about Ubisoft, you got to talk about what happened at Riot, everything like that. Okay, but this is what's in the news right now. So let's focus on this. Let's fight this battle. Let's take this down, and let's move on to the next thing after that, right? Like, there's some really nasty stuff going on over there with Activision Blizzard, and there really needs to be some change in leadership, and it's very obvious. And it's obvious that that's what Jeff was alluding to. You know, more so the bigger picture, because this is obviously a big thing among games. I just wish he would have name dropped so we can kind of, bury that specific issue a little bit. So maybe we could have got a little bit more pressing in progress on it. But I'm glad he talked about it. I am, for sure.
Yeah, I can respect that point for sure. A few more bullet points here. I mean, gosh, I'm not going to recapture my excitement that I had for Star Wars, but there's some pretty damn awesome stuff here that if you would have told me going into the night I'd see it, I'd be like, get out of here right now. Wonder Woman. We're getting a Wonder Woman game, which I thought that was my bet all these years that Rocksteady was going to be working on a Wonder Woman game. A lot of people said Superman. I was like, I think it's I think it's Wonder Woman. Well, I was wrong. But anyway, Monolith known for the Shadow of Mordor series and their wonderful, wonderful Nemesis system, which it sounds like we're going to get a little bit of in this game. We don't really know anything about it. We just got a very brief tease. Wonder Woman, I'm all over the place with how excited I am for this and finally being able to take control of that character in a central game. I mean, goodness, John, what better time to get Wonder Woman in the fold, right?
Yeah, super cool. I mean, you've got limitless potential with what you can do to make that character fun to play. I mean, that is such an acrobatic superhero with really, really cool moveset and power set. That, I mean, that lasso is going to be fun to use. Maybe get a little invisible jet action. I mean, who knows what they're going to do? But like the moveset and the acrobatics are going to be a lot of fun if they can nail the combat. So yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that, and I'm a big fan of those Shadow of Mordor games. I was just thinking about it the other day. I'm like, I can't believe we haven't gotten a third game in that series just yet. It's been a few years. I think 2017 was when the last one came out.
Right.
Now we know why. They've been working on something else.
I will say the pressure's on, though. We're in a world where like studios are nailing these entries and these superheroes and the way they feel to play. I mean, like I'll give it to your favorite franchise and the pioneers behind all this, the Arkham games. I mean, they've really nailed what it feels like to play Batman and what Batman gameplay looks like. And then all of a sudden Insomniac comes around and Spider-Man is just so good and feels so good to be Spider-Man. And then the flip side, you got Avengers, and people are thinking, well, maybe they didn't nail this so much, and it got a lot of criticism. So I think the spotlight's on nowadays because superhero games are getting so good. So very interested to see how they handle it, or how they execute, I should say.
And some presumably good stuff in the pipeline too, right? With another Spider-Man game. We've got Wolverine coming, which it's Insomniac, so we know it's going to be good to a certain degree. But yeah, you're right. The bar is set really high for these. I was thinking about it today too on the drive home, and I was like, man, Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales, those are two of my favorite video games of all time.
100%.
They're that good. They're that good.
I think about those games all the time. And honestly, I play those games all the time. That's one of those things where like I am just sitting around. I'm just bored out of my mind. There's nothing to watch. I don't want to play anything. I will just boot up the PS5 and just swing around New York City as Miles. And I'll just do that. Like I'll even do that when like I've got a couple of friends over and we're just like talking and doing nothing, have a couple of beers, and there's really no, substance to the conversation, where some people would like, boot up FIFA or Call of Duty. I'm just swinging around Miles Morales, man. I'm swinging around that city because it's just so fun to do.
Yeah, it really is. They nailed everything that they needed to in that game. It's near perfection. I was thinking earlier about the PS5 because we got the announcement on the colors for the controls and the panels, and I was like, I can't believe that I got my first experience with the PS5 really got to be Miles Morales. What an immensely wonderful way to launch a system. One of the best launch titles of all time, in my opinion.
Agreed. Yeah, I think it loses a little bit of its credibility because it came out on PS4, so it wasn't, a must-buy for the system. But I don't care about that. I was going to buy a PS5, so I got to play this on my PS5. Still, to me, like, yeah, top-tier launch title, just like, Zelda Breath of the Wild in my eyes.
I I'd be playing that game regardless. If I didn't get my hand on a PS5, I'd be playing it on PS4. Just, it was a can't miss. Really big one for me, selfishly. Been yelling about it for years among many other kind of cult following gamers. We're getting Alan Wake 2. Did you see Sam Lake's tweet, by the way?
No.
So people have been asking him about it for like a decade now, right? Because the original Alan Wake came out in 2010. So it was just on repeat in all caps. Alan Wake 2 is confirmed. Alan Wake 2 is confirmed. It was so awesome. It's probably I would guess his most asked question in his career.
Yeah,
but
it's
Alan
like
Wake 2.
It reminds me of Andrew Garfield, who's out right now on a press tour for a completely different movie, and like every time he's sitting down with the media, he just has to talk about Spider-Man. It's gotta be so frustrating.
What a great and also terrible time for him to be on a press tour.
I know. I would say mostly terrible.
Yeah, probably. He's such a champ. I was watching a video about 20 minutes or so. Him, Toby, everyone, Emma, anyone who's been in the Spider-Man movies that are not in the MCU, just basically 20 minutes straight of them denying that they're in the new Spider-Man movie on talk shows, and it's so funny and playful.
So I didn't see like a big compilation of that, but I did see somebody mash up one of his responses with one of his line deliveries in the Spider-Man movies. So I don't know if this was Amazing Spider-Man 1 or 2, but there's this one scene where he like mentions something like that. Oh, I came in through the chimney, and the person's like, we don't have a chimney, and he goes, wait, what? Like, as like a very obvious, I'm lying, what do I do? And he answered that almost exactly the same way when somebody said that they know he's in Spider-Man. He's like, wait, what? It was like, and those clips are matched up, and it's like same energy.
Oh my gosh. The thing I saw that really means nothing, but it was the first time it wasn't like an outright denial. Was someone was like, so rumors are you're in the new Spider-Man movie, and he's like, oh yeah, kind of like he hadn't heard about it, and they're like, yeah, will you go on the record and say if you're in the movie or not? And he goes, I guess you're just going to have to wait and see. And I was like, he didn't say no for once.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be so sick of this that he's just like either just having more fun with it or is just getting more loose about it. And you know what? Normally we wouldn't go this far down the Spider-Man rabbit hole, but it is Spider-Man week. We are seeing that movie in 3 days. So we're allowed to talk about Spider-Man on this podcast right now.
Oh, I can't believe that we get to see that this week. This feels not quite.
It's close. But it's close.
It's in the conversation with how I felt getting into Infinity War and Endgame, where I'm like, oh my gosh, yep. I feel the butterflies. Close. I can't wait. Like, I'm going to be amped up that Thursday night. We got a few nights to go here. Woo. All right.
Back to video games.
Back off of our soapbox here for Spider-Man. Alan Wake 2. We're getting a little bit of a different game, according to Sam Lake, the creative director. We're getting a little bit more into the horror elements of things.
Yeah, survival horror. That's
psychological,
right? So that interested me because I never played Alan Wake, and I didn't really have a plan to go back and do so, and I still might not, because nowadays we're in a realm where people are rebooting these games so many years after, right? So we see this all the time. Where like, all right, the second version or the third version of this game is out a decade later plus, so they're kind of like spiritual reboots in a sense. So for some reason, I have a feeling that I'm going to be able to play Alan Wake 2 without having to worry about the first one. So I'm excited about it. I'm gonna dive in, hopefully.
I'm going to, without obviously knowing what happens in Alan Wake 2, I'm going to almost definitively say you can. And I worry. So I picked up the Alan Wake remaster in October. It's one of the other reasons I didn't get the Deathloop. But I played through it and loved it. And it was nostalgic for me because I played the game when it came out on Xbox 360. And there's certain quality of life improvements there. Obviously, the textures and graphics and the lighting look really good. Some of the gameplay is a little clunky, feels definitely a little dated. I worry about someone like John diving into that and being like, I don't get it. Because you didn't play it when it came out, so that context is missing, and I don't think you'll ever see that. I could be wrong. You could pick up the game and be like, dude, this is freaking awesome. But probably not. So I'm a big believer in jumping into a sequel like this, where you got, by the time it comes out, 13 years between those releases, and not worrying about the past. Like, I don't think you have to have that context.
Right. I'm gonna watch a YouTube video. Yeah, I'll get a story recap.
That's exactly it. Like, you don't have to worry about the rest of it, and it's so cinematic and story based anyway that it probably makes sense to do that.
Cool.
So this game says 2023. I feel like that's not happening. I have no reason to believe that, really. However, this has been rumored to be in development for a few years now, really, since Remedy has taken things to a new level, especially with their Control kind of shared universe, if you will, between Control and Alan Wake and whatever else is coming out. Speaking of Remedy, I'm excited to play through Crossfire X when that hits in February on Series X.
Very different for them, right? I mean, I know it's not a new announcement here at the Game Awards, but I just keep thinking, like, wow, what a different experience for them.
When they said that Remedy was developing that, I thought I misread it. It was like, oh, is there like another studio that just has that name? No,
right.
This is Remedy Entertainment.
It's the flip side of how I felt when Respawn was doing Fallen Order. I'm like, Respawn, the studio that came from Call of Duty, that built Titanfall and Apex Legends, they're doing a Star Wars game? What? With like, Soulsborne light-esque, methodical combat? What do you mean? What? That makes no sense. So this is kind of the flip side of that, where like, Remedy, known for their their horror survival or their stories, I guess, for the most part, coming in and making a shooter game. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to get my hands on that whenever that's here. Excited to see it finally announced. Even during the show, I remember going, guys, that's Alan Wake. I just started freaking out. I was like, I know that voice. Here we are. So this one was also early in the show, a game I've been waiting for since I played the original. We're getting the Senua Saga Hellblade 2. So this got a really good trailer.
This, I'll say this is the high point of the event. As somebody who didn't even play Hellblade, the first one, I'm interested, and I definitely want to play it before this, but I haven't even played it. I was glued to the screen, man. What an incredible cinematic and gameplay reveal. Ninja Theory, absolute wizards over there, what they're doing.
It's impressive stuff. I played the original game last year on the Xbox One X, and very psychological game. They tell you, it's a lot about mental health. Play it with a headset because you hear a lot of the whispering that's going on that's meant to simulate what's going on in someone's head. And it's a very serious in tone game. It's not a fun game per se. It is dark in tone, and as I said, the subject matter is serious. So it tackles the issue in an interesting way, and I really respect it. Watching some of the behind the scenes stuff and talking about mental health and Ninja Theory, plus how they recorded some of the stuff is really fascinating. And then some of the visuals that they had to get to make all of this jive. Really interesting stuff. Download it. It's on Xbox Game Pass. Play through the game. You could probably play through it in anywhere from 7 to 10 hours. I can't remember what it was. It's a little bit linear.
That's not bad.
A little bit of side stuff. It's worth your time. You'll know very early on in the game if you want to keep going. You may say this is not for me, but I encourage you to download it and play it if you haven't had the chance to do so.
The good news is you're going to have a while to get that done because we made a little bet as to what we thought the release date was going to show on the screen after. I said it was just going to say 2022. You said it was going to be in the first quarter, the first half of 2022. I forgot which one it was. We got nothing. We didn't even get a breadcrumb. They're just like, nope. No chance, guys. We're not even.
I respect it.
Me too. I'm fine with it. I always hope for dates. I hope to know when stuff is coming out. It's always fun to start planning for that stuff. But if it's not ready, it's not ready.
I'm the definition of like a crying baby gamer. Like I respect it, but damn it, give me something. Give me a time frame. What are you doing?
I'm that person that's like, dude, show me the game as early as you possibly can. Give me the hype. I don't care. I don't care if we see the sequel to God of War at the next 3 E3s or whatever. I want to see that stuff as soon as I possibly can. Oh, Josiah dropped out. I wonder if he's gonna come back. Maybe I mentioned God of War and he just got so upset he wanted to leave for the day. He usually pops right back in. We'll see. Not back in. Oh, wait, he's back. Look at him. Look at his little logo. Funny enough, your avatar is wearing the same jacket you are right now. So it's like you never left.
I know. Never mind that beard.
Right.
Yeah.
What beard? Never seen it. That's funny. No, that was smooth. We'll keep it rolling here.
I don't know. Sounds good. Yeah. I'm really surprised, by the way, that we didn't see a time frame because that was teased at E3 a few years ago, I want to say.
It was, and that was like a pretty lengthy gameplay reveal too, right?
Yeah, so I'm legitimately surprised that we're not. Who knows? This could all be a part of the thing. They could be like, yeah, it's coming out in a few months. Like they could play that game and be like, hey, it's coming out this fall.
I'm with you there because I wonder how much Xbox Game Pass affects that. Like, do they really need a long marketing campaign to drum up the hype about their first party studios anymore, their first party games anymore? Because most of the people that are going to play that game already own it because they're already Game Pass subscribers. So like, who are you selling it to? Obviously, you want to make a marketing push, get drum up hype for the game, but like, I don't know. Do you really need to advertise that date that far ahead?
No, plus there's some heavy hitters next year, most notably Starfield in November. So they don't really have to do anything. And maybe they learned their lesson with Halo and been like, okay, we got to really backtrack here and take our time,
Right. And I'm going to go on the record and say that they didn't learn their lesson with Halo because there's no chance Starfield comes out next fall. It's not happening. You're not playing Starfield next fall. Going on the record right now, you're not playing Starfield in 2022. Sorry.
Dude, oh wow, okay.
There's not a chance. I don't care. There's no chance.
I never considered that until you said it just now.
I've seen the date 2022 and fall and all that stuff, and I've never considered that it was coming out next year. No chance.
It's the November 11th, right? Like that's the Skyrim date that's special with Bethesda and all that. Like that's yeah, right. With the pandemic and who knows what.
Maybe they'll hit one of Skyrim's other release dates. Maybe they'll hit Skyrim Switch release date or something like that, or the Samsung Fridge release date, whatever. But it's not coming out on next year for sure. Sorry, guys.
I like the hot take there. The hot take of disappointment there. We'll see what happens. The Halo TV show. What a gorgeous trailer we got for the Paramount Plus series that's coming up. Man, they nailed it. There's not a thing that I would change with all of that.
It finally feels real. We've been hearing about a Halo movie, TV show since I feel like 2001, since Halo dropped, right? Like I feel like every 4 to 5 years we hear about a new Halo live action project, and like the closest we've gotten is that Halo Forward Unto Dawn like miniseries that was released on Xbox, and that was like okay at best. So I'm glad, and this actually feels real. I'm glad we're actually gonna get something.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It looks and sounds like Halo. Cannot wait for that to get here. That's going to be a day one binge for me. We got as I mentioned, a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League trailer. I don't really have much to say about it other than that's Rocksteady, and I love Rocksteady, so I cannot wait to see what that looks like. Hopefully we get that later in 2022, but I'm not holding my breath. Sonic Frontiers. Sonic is the hot property right now, right?
Dude,
what do we got, John?
I don't know. I haven't played a Sonic game since the Genesis, probably. I haven't actually picked up the controls on a Sonic game, but I will tell you, I love the first movie. That was one of those movies where it's like I didn't see it in theaters. Pandemic happened. And I was just looking for stuff to watch, and I was like actively looking to support like the day and date digital releases because I'm a big proponent of that. But especially during the pandemic, all these people sitting on movies, I'm like, just put them out. Let me watch them digitally. So I bought Sonic right away. And I loved it. It was a lot of fun. So I mean, I think I'm gonna try to be a brand new Sonic fan here in 2021, 2022.
I'm with you. I have not really played much of anything Sonic and enjoyed the movie, but from the gaming standpoint, I ironically have not done much, and that might be my opportunity. So
right. All we know is that
Jim
it's
Carrey,
like an open world ish type thing. I mean, like they. Like I'm idiot saying this again, but like Breath of the Wild inspiration where you've got. I feel like anything with like green and blue and vastness, people are just gonna compare it to Breath of the Wild at this point. But
100%, yeah, that's how it goes
for sure. But
I think I'm gonna download that on my OLED, by the way, because I never finished it, so I need to go through Breath of the Wild.
Oh my! Yeah, I had to take a few steps to get with you there. I'm still very like. It's one of those. I wouldn't even say it's one of those things we disagree on. I think it's just one of those things that I know if you committed to, you'd be right there with me, because Breath of the Wild is so special, and I know it would hit. Like there's a world where Josiah plays that game and he just absolutely falls in love with it. And I just want that world to collide with this one.
Well, that's all I needed to hear, folks. It's good enough for me.
Is that a good sales pitch?
Judy, you get me, man. You get me. That's all there is to it. Yeah, so Sonic Frontiers next fall, I believe we got for a time frame on that. Jim Carrey, freaking hysterical.
Yeah, it was good.
I feel like they were just like, hey Jim, talk about the upcoming movie, and he just went.
He's
off
like, no,
with the
I'm
accent.
good. I'm good. I'm not going to talk about the movie at all.
The accent and the saying.
Yeah, whatever he was talking about, his Scottish grandfather always told him to. I forget at this point, but
Grinder.
yeah,
The grinder.
I don't even know, dude. I was just dying. So often, I think these celebrity, these A-list Hollywood celebrities and the video game crossovers just don't go very well, just because the celebrity has no clue what this industry is like. I bet Jim Carrey's the same way, but for him it works because he's just so freaking funny, man.
He's off the wall hysterical. I was in tears. I'm gonna go watch it after this again.
Yeah.
Speaking of celebrities, Keanu seemed a little bit awkward during the whole and the Matrix thing, right? It was like, all right, what's going on here?
Right.
That kind of made news today, which is funny to me. That it's funny that this is news, first of all, but second of all, the news is that he never played Cyberpunk, like any minute of it. And the problem is, CD Projekt Red said before the game came out that Keanu played it and he really had a good time.
Oh.
I don't see why we give a crap. It's only funny to me because it's news, and second of all, Cyberpunk cannot buy a good break.
A good headline.
PR.
No.
Like nothing.
No.
Not one iota. Anything that's a little bit bad, everyone leeches onto, which is justifiable, by the way. It's just really funny.
It's like it'll go down in history as the example of nothing is sacred. Nothing is sacred. It doesn't matter what you do, man. It doesn't matter what you do. Like you're telling me CD Projekt Red is taking all this heat. If you would have told me that 2 years ago, I'd be like, there's no chance this game is nothing but a masterpiece. And even if it's not, everyone's gonna love it anyways because it's CD Projekt Red. Nothing is sacred.
It could have been mediocre. It could have been fine, and then everyone would have loved it. And here we are a year later. We don't have the PS5 update yet. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's messy. I just quite an interesting development, to say the least. Is
there a property you can think of that's like that can do no wrong, that couldn't have that fate? Like a developer, a studio, a movie franchise? Like I used to think that way until CD Projekt Red. To be honest, like I used to think there was stuff that was that was untouchable, but now it's over. It's over.
Kojima.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of nerds out there. You're right, a lot of nerds out there.
He has such a following. He's the one that comes to mind where like he could just be like, I did Cyberpunk 2077,
and all of a sudden the Metacritic is like a 97.
I did this game, and here's why I think it's special. And people will be like, "That's so meta,"
That makes so much sense, dude. It was broken on purpose because we're broken as people, man.
Right? Like, no, it's just a shitty game. Like, sorry, everybody. I said this on the live stream, I think Cyberpunk is to video games what Suicide Squad is to 2016 movies.
Right. I can't
movies in general. It was, to me, the sure bet of that year. I was like, this movie's going to be great. It feels like Guardians of the Galaxy, but DC, all this stuff. Nope. Couldn't have been more wrong. When all the reviews started dropping, I was legitimately shocked.
I mean, when the reviews started dropping, it was good because they gave out just PC codes, and like that game was like a 88 for the first week.
I meant Suicide Squad, but
gotcha. Never mind.
You are also correct.
Yeah, I get you.
That was all very shady.
What a crazy, yeah.
Just, oh my gosh, the history of Cyberpunk. Maybe that game will come out by 2077. So, John, I know you're excited about this one. Cuphead DLC, the delicious Last Course, coming June 30th, 2022. I have not taken the dive in. I told you I would about a year and a half ago, but early days of the pandemic, you said, screw it, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And you conquered Cuphead.
I love Cuphead so much. That game is so charming. So yeah, like you said, like I bought Cuphead the day it came out for Xbox One, back when it was exclusive to that, and back when it launched. I'm like, this game is so cool. The soundtrack is cool. The art style is incredible. Oh, it's really hard. Like they said it was going to be hard. It's really hard. I remember I couldn't even finish the first run and gun level. So if you're not familiar with Cuphead, there are boss battles, which is kind of the point of the game, but there's also these platforming levels that are called run and gun levels. And they're difficult, but they're not generally as hard as the boss battles. I couldn't even finish the first run and gun, dude. I probably put like 40 tries into it. And I'm like, I just can't get it. I'm done. And I got frustrated and something else came out. But when the pandemic happened and the game was out on Switch, and I'm like, I just need something to just clear my mind. And I just locked myself basically in this room for like 3 days, and I just crushed Cuphead. I just got addicted to it, and I got addicted to the pain and the loss, and like The game is very fair. Like it's like I know as I assume people would describe the Bloodborne and the Souls games is like it's fair. If you died, you know why you did something wrong, but it's still difficult. Cuphead is that, but it's whimsical and it's fun and it's really cool. So yeah, and I will say that I didn't realize that the DLC was also Delicious Last Course until the Game Awards. That was like a light bulb moment for me. I'm like, oh, they're really calling it DLC Island. Huh, why wouldn't they go with the name? Oh, it is. It is Delicious Last Course DLC. Good job, guys. You did real good there. So that, I'm dumb. But yeah, I can't wait to get more Cuphead. We were talking a little bit about it earlier. It's like a whole, the game is broken up into 3 different islands, and this is a whole new island. So it's like a whole third of the game you're getting here. So it's a lot of content. I can't wait. I can't wait to be crying and frustrated and breaking stuff again.
I own it for Xbox. I'm going to play it eventually. I'm going to get there. I know I will. It's going to be the right time. I'm going to sit there one night, not plan it, and be like, I'm playing Cuphead. Dude, I'm just doing this.
It's like, it's gratification like I've never had in a game. It's like you boot up one of these boss battles for the first time, and you're like, there's no way. Like, I did these last 2. Like, I worked hard at that. There's just no chance I beat this. This is insane. And then you just spend some more time with it, and you're like, oh, okay, there's a pattern there, pattern there. It's like, it starts coming together, and then you get into like maybe that hour-long process where like, all right, I understand this. I just have to execute this. I can do this. And then when you do it, it's like, it's crazy. Dude, this is going to sound, I don't know. I don't care what it sounds like, but I made this comparison when I beat this game. It felt like when I graduated from college. And I looked back on all of the courses that I got, my grades in. I got my final transcript from college. I'm like, I did this, I did that, I did that, I did that. I accomplished all of that. And when I beat Cuphead and I looked back at all the bosses I beat, I'm like, I did that. I did all of that.
I just got to get you like a diploma, like a certificate now. Like,
the game gives you one. The game gives you one. I got one.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I want to play it on Xbox. Well, I own it there already, but because of the achievements. So, I'm excited to eventually get through that. It's got to be the right time and temperament for me.
I would like to do that together. I would like to be there. We got to plan that. We talk a lot about plans and gaming and stuff like that, but that'd be a fun one. Commit.
I need the support for sure. I got to have that. So we'll see.
Because I had a lot of that with Courtney. Because we were, like I said, it was pandemic time, and I was just like grinding that game away on my Switch, and she was watching me, and like she was not coaching me, but like we were talking about the patterns and the things that I had to do. So like it's kind of fun to play, with somebody either critiquing you and making you more frustrated, or at least helping a little bit. So maybe we do like a long stream. We set some time aside on a weekend, and we like do a Cuphead day.
I'm 100% in for that. And then I think what should happen is if I'm down on myself, it's not going well, to make me feel better, Derek has to eat a death wing, and then I'll be good. I'll be like, if you could do that, I could do this.
House.
Anything I'm missing from the Game Awards here before we wrap up that discussion?
Scrolling through quickly, I think this is a big one. PUBG is now free. That's not a big one. That's sarcasm. Has there been a game that's died so quickly because of its competitor, where we talked about it on the stream? PUBG came out and like it was the thing. Everyone's like, yo, battle royales are actually really fun. It's not the first to do it, but this is approachable and I'm loving it. And like all I'm doing is getting chicken dinners and playing PUBG, and Fortnite's like, oh, we could do that. Oh, we're going to keep doing that. And it's free. And it's on everything. And then all of a sudden Fortnite's the biggest game since Minecraft. And then no one even talks about PUBG. So I just wanted to mention.
It's kind of amazing to see that fall off with, like you said, because of the competition there. It's just, it's night and day.
It's insane. But yeah, I think other than that, we covered the stuff that interests us at least.
So John, favorite non-Star Wars Eclipse moment or announcement or award, you name it. Anything that comes to mind.
It's Cuphead. And again, it's not even an announcement. It's a date, and it's just a reminder. And I think some of the first gameplay footage of these new bosses, it's just the invitation to come back to Cuphead. That is just got me so excited. So that's for sure my answer.
It's Alan Wake for me. That was a long time coming. I feel like I've emotionally invested in this for a long time, and to finally get that payoff was very, very rewarding. To take it a step further, we didn't talk about any of the awards for the night. It Takes Two comes home with Game of the Year honors. That's a big deal.
That's so cool. I mean, it's so cool. I think we're in a year where there's no runaway AAA. There's no God of War. There's no Breath of the Wild. There's no, that game doesn't exist this year. I mean, Deathloop was great and, critically acclaimed, but there's maybe some things that it could have done better to stand out on that front. So it's so cool to see a game like It Takes Two deservedly take the crown. The game is so cool. And again, you and I are going to dive in and play it together. I've played probably 2-3 hours of it, and like just me and my buddy Kyle just never got back together to do it. Game is special, man.
I am very excited to take that step with you. That's going to be great. We got to do that soon so we can talk about it for Game of the Year. Deathloop, an amazing candidate. To have it not win is tough, but all the hype is worth it there. You had a game like Resident Evil do so well. Ratchet and Clank we haven't really touched on. That had an amazing year. So many good entries there. Life is Strange, which you've been a big champion of. I'm going to get into that very shortly.
Didn't even get nominated. I was very upset about that.
Snubbed on a few awards throughout the night, it felt like.
Yeah, I agree.
But a big step up in terms of recognition from prior Life is Strange games. So for what it's worth, we'll take the glass half full there. I think that's it. I think that's it for the Game Awards for me. What a wonderful night. This was my favorite one yet. I've enjoyed every year so far. Last year was great for me with the Mass Effect reveal as a big Mass Effect fan. But just between the announcements and the fun and us doing this together and live streaming on the Geekiverse for the first time, this was just a special time.
Yeah. Agreed. I think we should probably mention the fact that there was some new Elden Ring gameplay. That's probably like maybe the second biggest headline for most of gamers besides Star Wars. I think people love those games. Not for either of us, so we should just give it its mention. It's worth it.
I agree. I want to like that game. I just feel like
I still think there's a world, right? And even like I still think that one day I'll give Bloodborne a chance. I'll give Bloodborne a chance, but I just think that day has never come yet, so we'll see.
It's so funny with Bloodborne. I bought that and Sekiro Black Friday 2 years ago. Got through my list to kind of catch up on games. Popped Bloodborne in, and I was like, here we go. I played an hour, and I was like, I'm done. And I uninstalled it. Yeah. And it's bizarre, but I was like, I'm not doing this. Sekiro is still in the packaging.
So I did the same thing with Bloodborne. As I just booted it up, and I was just in like the intro, world or whatever you want to call it, the first little part of the map, and like I just wasn't digging the vibes. It was like I had to go find something. I'm like, I don't know, that wasn't very intuitive the way you told me to do that. I'm not really sure what I'm looking for. Like, I'm not feeling this. I just bounced. It was really, really quick. And again, like, I know that gameplay loop is something that can get me. You talk like platformers are usually what do it for me. You talk about a game like Cuphead. You talk about a game like Celeste. Some of the Mario games, but Rayman games, stuff like that. I love platformers and I love difficulty when it comes to them. So I know that there's that trial and error. I have to learn how this pattern works. I know that gameplay loop will get me. I just need to get past whatever I don't like about Bloodborne. One day I will.
I think for me, I'm not good at it challenging games like a Soulsborne game. I also struggle with patience, and to me, I'm like, I would rather play 4 other video games in the time that it's going to take me to beat this, because I'm not good at it, and I don't care about the story to boot in addition to the challenge. So that's where it's a tough sell for me. But I respect people that love the idea of that and want to play it, and like a Demon Souls game, you name it. It's not for me, and that's okay, to get to that realization, I think.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So the Game Awards, hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, youtube.com/thegeekiverse. Let us know what was your favorite moment, any games that you wanted to see that didn't occur, any games that got snubbed that came out in 2021. Hit us in the comments section. Lots of good stuff going on at the Geekiverse. We've got Busy Sticks that is just rolling right now. John and I are having an absolute blast talking about video games every week. Whether you'll listen on podcast services around the globe or you're watching at youtube.com/thegeekiverse, we love talking about video games, and we want you to be a part of the conversation. So join us on the aforementioned social media. If you like and support what we do and can throw some money our way, we'd appreciate it at patreon.com/thegeekiverse. Also check out the geekiverse.storeenvy.com for all of your Geekiverse merchandise. I do want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at 26 Shirts. They've got an incredible shirt going on this week. They're not sponsoring this show, but we got to talk about it. I've got my game day shirt on, which is the Green Day Dookie album cover, but it's all Buffalo Bills themed. That's not the shirt I'm talking about. The shirt I'm talking about came out today, actually, for the time of recording. It's basically a Buffalo Bills version of Venom. It's a symbiote shirt. You can go to 26shirts.com and pick that up right now. It's only available for a limited time, and once it's gone, it is gone forever. The great thing about 26 Shirts is that when you buy a shirt from them or any sort of merchandise, a chunk of that goes to a family, a person, or a charity in need. So you're not only getting a great piece of merchandise, you are helping someone who really needs you a lot. And another special shout out to Del Reed and the awesome people at 26 Shirts. They ran a shirt campaign, unbeknownst to me, for my aunt, Sue McGee, who's on and off battling cancer here for the last few years. Every little kind of hitch in the road has come her way, but she's met every challenge. God willing, she'll keep doing that. But 26 Shirts launched a campaign to do the Buffalo Winter Smile t-shirt. And it sold over 100 shirts. So it did a nice job. We appreciate you and the community for stepping up. Of course, that's a little extra special, near and dear to me, because that is my aunt and I love her. So thanks for doing what you do and checking out 26shirts.com. John, Daisy, my daughter, when she watches my phone and looks at Disney Plus, it's a lot of kids-based stuff. We've got her own profile on there. It's a lot of Tangled and Moana and Frozen, which I like. But recently, what she has started to pick up a little bit, I don't remember the name of the series, but it's a kids version of Spider-Man and Friends.
Oh yeah, I think it is Spider-Man and Friends.
I think that's.
I think you got it. Yeah, so I keep seeing that. It's like Spider-Man and Miles and Gwen, right?
Yes.
I'm tempted to press play on that bad boy.
How this has gone recently, which is great with another kid on the way, because we're getting into a groove here, is mom goes to bed, as she always goes to bed way early. It is what it is. Daisy and I sit on the couch. I play Halo or whatever. Daisy watches Disney Plus on my phone. And lately, it has been Spider-Man, to the point where she has said Spider-Man, John, you're going to be so proud, is her favorite superhero.
Shout out to Daisy.
So, the reason I bring this up is not just because of how awesome I think that is, or amazing, I should say, but John, we've got Spider-Man this week. We already mentioned it. 3 sleeps away, my friend. We're going to be watching Spider-Man.
I'm at the point where I just want to stop thinking about it, because the more I think about it, the more I don't want it to be right now. I want it to be Thursday at 7:45 Eastern time. So like every time I think about it, I get sad because it's not happening yet. It's like you said, man. It's getting up there. The hype is real. We're in the end game now. Pun certainly intended. It's the biggest movie since Endgame, right? Absolutely.
What an awesome, exciting time. The lead up is part of the fun. Yeah, it's crappy that the websites crash and we can't get through on the app, whether it's Fandango or Regal. But what good memories there of you, me, and JT going through the chat and not being able to get those tickets right away. And then we get them, and then I get them.
I fell asleep with my phone in my hand. I woke up at like 4 a.m. and my phone is just dangling off on my pillow. And I've got like 19% battery. I'm like, I should charge this. Oh, I didn't get tickets. Oh, they're gonna be gone. Going to bed. Like that was my roller coaster. I fell asleep after that, but luckily we got some tickets. Things worked out, but
I stayed up till about 2:30. Hoping to get where I had to go. I had The Mandalorian in the background there. Didn't get there, but when I woke up the next day, tickets were available.
Yeah, they were actually kind of widely available. Before you and I even talked, I think we didn't even touch base until like 7 or 8 o'clock. I was up at like 6, and I'm like, there's a lot of tickets left. I don't know what to do. I don't know how many Josiah needs. I don't know how many we all need as a group. So like I just sat there. I'm like, well, there's a bunch left. Hopefully Josiah hits me up soon. But that was funny.
Could have been devastating, but you know what? We got them, folks.
We did it. I bought them
almost as fast as I bought the Switch when John sent me that link. So there we are. Can't wait to talk about it. We're going to be talking a lot of Spider-Man. John, because we were talking about Spider-Man here, I'm going to ask you to share your social media as per usual. But speaking of Spider-Man and Marvel, what other show can people at the Geekiverse look forward to
we've got a long running series. It wasn't supposed to be as long running as it currently is, but life happens. But it doesn't matter. These movies have all been out. We've got the MCU reviewed, so we are going through each and every film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're going in release order, and we are just about at Captain Marvel. So whenever Josiah, myself, and Elida, very special guest, Elida, who made an awesome appearance on our Geeks Give Back giveaway, or not giveaway, but our charity event, told an awesome story there. She'll be on that episode as well, because she's been a great supporter of that series, and she's always fun to talk to. So we can't wait to record that. But we're getting there. We're getting there, man. We're hopefully going to plan something special for Endgame, maybe do something in person. We haven't figured it out quite yet, maybe a live stream, but that's kind of, even though there's a couple of films after that kind of feels like the apex where we should maybe start celebrating that series. So it's been a lot of fun. MCU review, check it out.
Absolutely. On social media, also, you can find John at Disruptoid. He is everywhere. We've got some good stuff there. You know he's going to be talking about Spider-Man, so can't wait for that.
Don't talk about Spider-Man right now. Don't you dare put that evil on me. This is like part of this is part of the lead up. This, like, the song and dance and like the ninja, like, stay away from that word on social media right now, because that movie's like out other places. It's like, I think tomorrow it comes out in New Zealand, or even like tonight it might. Don't talk about Spider-Man. Leave it alone.
Dude, I am not going on any sort of social media, which is not uncommon for me, but I'm really not going to do it this week. I'm staying away from it. I'm going to post this show when we post this, and that's it. I'm staying away until after Spider-Man, because I'm not risking it. This is too big.
I am terrified of TikTok, because TikTok doesn't care. You just keep scrolling. The algorithm is just like, all right, hey bro, I know you like Spider-Man. Here's a Spider-Man video. Happened to me with Venom 2. Luckily, I had no plans to see Venom Part 2, but I'm just scrolling through TikTok, and all of a sudden I see the end credit screen, or end credit scene. I'm like, okay, awesome, good for me. I'm glad that I saw that, because I wanted to. But imagine if this was No Way Home. Oh, I don't know what to do. I might have to throw my phone in the garbage, put it in the freezer or something. I don't know what to do.
John, I think you got to stay away.
But
it's almost Tuesday. We're almost at Tuesday. Then we just got to get through Tuesday and Wednesday and most of Thursday, and then we're there.
That's like 30 hours of TikTok.
It's a lot of time. You got to stay away. All right. On as I said on social media, I'm at Josiah D. Leroy. If you want to friend me on Xbox or PlayStation, I am Brosiah. That's it. I am
sure
Brosiah.
He is.
Hit me up there. I'm not lying. Can't wait to talk MCU. Can't wait to talk more video games with you. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Busy Sticks. For Baba Yaga himself, John Fick, I'm Josiah Leroy. We're going to catch you soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful night, and stay away from Spider-Man spoilers.